Thanks. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. Back to vertical. Let's see if I can get it. This looks like horizontal. Let's see here. There we go. May make no difference. If it doesn't, we'll go back to horizontal tomorrow. And I apologize if I made anyone feel bad, because obviously, guys, you are the whole reason I'm here. Daniel, if I made Daniel feel bad, I feel terrible. Did Daniel roll out? He rolled out. Man. All right. Well, apologize anyways. Yeah, I'm an imperfect person, and oh, well, I'm glad you're here, Daniel. And oh no, I can't give your point to Ruiz because you earned the point, so it's your point right now. Ruiz has to be psychic enough to know exactly when I'm coming on, like everybody else. What I figured out yesterday was if I'm early or on time, Chardonnay is usually the one, and then if I'm late, Chardonnay. It's not Chardonnay's fault. She's gonna get there on time. That's the way she gets after it. Welcome, Woodchucker. Good to see you. I'm running it vertical, man. Horizontal, it just didn't. It wasn't slapping, as the young folks say. We'll try it again, man. I'm not giving up on it because I did it for like 10 minutes, but I got to strategize on how to maybe light it better, work with the stuff on the walls to make sure that it's hitting the algorithm properly. Because already, even this low number I have right now is better than what I was doing um, when I was um, when I was doing the long form. And I told y'all, statistically, many people reach this stream through just scrolling through vertical live streams. That's how they get here. So, um, that being said, I'm gonna actually now I'm gonna cut the beam for this, and what I would like to do is cut this thing to 42 inches, so that there is an inch in each one of these sides here. So I have this laid out here, and I'll show it to you as soon as I drill these holes. I will zoom in a little to show the drilling, and I'm drilling only where I shaded here, which is 3/4 of an inch off from the front of this beam, and then is a 3/4 inch area. So it's half of the wide side of a 2x4. If I had another one handy, I would show you, but I don't. So you're gonna have to see how I cut that to understand that part. Doing what I do a lot by removing waste with a Forstner bit. You guys know I use that as a standard technique. It's not me trying to repeat stuff, it's just that it's the way that things work. Let me see if I've got, this bit's a little small. I might go with the larger one here. Oh, I need to put tape on here. Hold on. So when you're doing this kind of thing and you're trying to get depth exactly, you need to measure the bit and then put a piece of tape on there at that depth. So I need to measure, see, it needs to be an inch deep, so it needs to be an inch into that bit. I'm gonna take a piece of tape, and whenever I reach that point on the bit, I'm gonna stop drilling. It is kind of important to be at a 90-degree angle from the workpiece here. Oh, really? That's cool. I am too, man. I am too. Heather and I are on the same page. Let me get this in the frame here. I think what you're looking at is down here. So I want you all to see what I'm doing. I'm taking this, I'm gonna measure an inch into this bit. I mean, the closest you can get it, the better. So, boom, that's where the tape needs to be right there. I'm gonna wrap this tape around. I got y'all making stuff. Welcome. Just something.
Okay, well, you're back
All right, it looks like I'm super zoomed in. Can you just drop back the camera a little bit here so that it's kind of showing this area here? It's weird. When I touched the screen to do something, it must have zoomed in more. Yeah. Could you zoom out for me?
I did.
Oh. That's right. It's supposed to be right here.
I think it's
Okay. I just can't tell.
I know, it's good.
All right. Okay. Get it straight. I mean, I'm not gonna give up. Oh, I can make one more drill hole here too while you got there. I need one more here at the bottom. Remember, I got this tape in case you missed that whole part. Got this tape to get the depth right. And I want a 90-degree angle here. And the tape touches, and that's when I stop. Scripted version of mortise cutting. Is it?
I have it all the way zoomed out here.
Nah, this shouldn't be scripted, man. I'm doing this all for real. Well, if that.
I think you know, because you can't see it.
Oh. Okay. Y'all see now?
It's fully zoomed out on this.
Is it? Is there like some glitch? The numbers look good right now, actually. Cutting a blind mortise in here. Welcome to Dad's workshop. What I just dropped. Now this is not going plumb through the wood or all the way through the wood, so I don't need to like keep hammering so hard with the chisel. I got my light mallet here to do this. I just want to go down to where those, I got to be sensitive to where those drills ended, right? Because that's down at the depth I want it. But then at the bottom, this takes a little care because you need to make it square. So getting your mortise cut nice and square is where the finesse comes in. You know, I like to work it kind of from the outside, then I'll push out the waste and see what I got left in there. This is a 3/4 inch mortise right here, half of a 2x4, because the 2x4 is going to have a dado basically cut in the end. It's a mortise, but it's basically kind of the same thing as a dado. It's just sliding in here. It's going to be pegged. Is that right? Must be a new problem with like their software or something. Or maybe I need to update. It's okay to be zoomed right now.
Yeah. Yeah, he said instead of zooming, just move the camera closer when you do it. That way
Yeah.
it doesn't zoom out. It's a better shot anyway.
I got the chisel upside down because I don't want that bevel digging deeper in there. That backside of the chisel's reliable for just getting a surface flat, almost like a plane. I've told you all that same stuff before, you know, kind of the same principles. This is actually a pretty easy joint to cut too. I noticed this last time. The tricky part is making sure it's aligned on both posts. That's the tricky part. And I'm looking at the bottom of my mortise right now. It's pretty clean. Like, I'm confident just one part of it is a little off, kind of close to where this knot comes in down here, of course, as I've told you before. Knots cause widespread problems, you know, not just where they are, but in the areas adjacent to that. I can see where my first drill hole is a little too deep there. Like I showed you all, that was before I put the tape on. I caught myself there. If it's a little too deep, that's also okay, because it's in this case a little too deep is okay, because when your mortise goes in, it's not gonna you know, push it out. It'll still go all the way in. You'll still be able to peg. Only thing you don't want to do is cut too much support wood out. So the more wood you remove from a post, the less strength it has. You know, as you know, when you take a knot, delete a knot or subtract a knot from a piece of wood, that takes that whole area up and down the length of the board's strength away. So the tensile strength of the board is, you have to subtract that amount of wood from the entire length of the board, according to physics. So my point is, don't worry about cutting a little deep, but don't overdo it. Are you still at work?
Connection just oh. I don't know. Jump back in. Let it finish figuring out.
We might have a storm coming or something too, complicating things a little bit. But if you've made it to Dad's workshop, apologize for the quality. That has to do with the streaming internet. You know, it's upload speeds kind of, and I think if you've ever streamed, you all might know this. It's tough to keep that strong signal and get that constant good quality. But we always do our best for y'all. We want there to be value to our content. So we are working diligently to try to make sure that the stream comes in clearly. So thanks for being here. Thanks, Woodchuck. I appreciate you filling us in. We need to know that kind of stuff. Also, good news, you know.
Or do you want to move back just because we're moving?
You can back it out now if it's possible. Thanks to those sharpening stones, this chisel is super sharp and is doing a great job cleanly cutting out this mortise. Super happy with that. Now, with these things, if you cut it at all off center, off line, what happens is it pushes the board in a different direction. So you end up having to make the joint larger so that there's play, and then you start messing with how strong it is. So you want it not too loose, but not too tight in there. You want it to fit the board and have the proper angle so that it's not pushing the board in one way. And my last time I cut these, I had to tinker with them a little until I got the tenons exactly straight. I'm gonna turn this since I got y'all zoomed in still, right? No? Let me get to live here. Let's get to live. There we go. So here's what we have visibly so you can see what it looks like. 3/4 of an inch of support wood, and then an inch mortise right here that's 3/4 inches wide, 3.5 inches long to fit the side of a 2x4. Because remember, we're doing stuff with dimensional lumber here. Yeah. That's gonna have a board. It's gonna stick in there, and then the other part over here. See where this thing is starting to come together. You all are gonna see. Now this board is gonna be on the other post, and that's gonna have the mortise on the other side, other face. And then that board will connect these two posts, and there will be braces against that as well. So same way on this big bed, I could probably show you, but it doesn't look like email in the description. I'll send you some stuff there. Woodchucker, are you on my, oh, this is, you talking about to Robert G. He's talking to me? Oh, is he in the Discord?
No, he doesn't Discord.
Yeah, you can throw, I don't care if my email's in there. You can throw my email in there. Oh yeah, there is a storm. That's what we're dealing with. That makes sense. And the direction that the storms come from is that southwest, right?
It's that it's a dead zone. We have no Wi-Fi. Nobody to speak to the house.
All right. And so I'm on to the next one, the other post facing that side. Remember, these two posts sitting like this have a board that goes between them. It's going to have a blind mortise. Lord knows I hope I did this correctly. It is tricky, and you can cut it wrong. Yeah, we're gonna get that stuff to you, Woodchucker. Don't worry. It's a priority for us. Communication is always a priority for us. So we're gonna get you that right now. Just give me 1 minute. I got my tape here. I already zoomed in for this, so if you missed that, go ahead and check out the last 15 kind of sloppy minutes because it's kind of the internet was bad. We got the storm. We've already had problems. Blah blah blah. Excuses. You all see the tape is where I'm gonna stop here. Precision is important enough to me that I want to be careful. So you'll see me slow the drill down a little. It is on the maximum amount of like torque because you're using a Forstner bit, so you need that. Kind of when I get down towards it, I want to see if it's level there. And then I'm going to move on to the next one. And you know, use these things right, and they do a lot of the waste removal work for you, especially if you're cutting these things by hand. You know, using drills to kind of remove waste. It's not cheating, man. Definitely. All it does is just remove some variables. Especially one of the main things it does is it minimizes the wear on your chisel. So you have to, you know, with a project like this, you basically have to stop halfway through and sharpen everything because you dull everything working it so hard. You all know how many joints I cut by hand. not making excuses. The drill is a necessity, in my opinion, to get the project done in a relatively reasonable time frame. And I'm not even talking about fast. I'm talking about in a couple of months. You need the aid of these sorts of things to like make it reasonable, because it could take you so long. I don't know in hours. You could probably look at my last live and then add about 30 hours to that. My last one took me from like December to March, early December to March, and I was working on it like almost like a full-time job. So a lot of hours, man. You know, I think each joint is carved by hand. You know, the boards had to be laminated. I didn't get the wood to the right size, so I had to laminate the boards myself. Ben, out, 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 out. Ben wants to be on my live, I guess. The pit bull. By the way, right now I'm just chiseling around where I just went with my Forstner bit. I'm going to do the line around it first, the perimeter here. And this mentor that I had told me that stop trying to get whole projects done in one day, right? And you know, I kind of was past that, so I'm like, what do you mean whole projects done in one day? I take a long time, but now I still rush things. Like I would want to get a pair of dovetails cut in one day, you know, large dovetails and the mortises cut for them in one day, and then I would rush at the end of the day or stay up till 2 in the morning and make a mistake on them. You know, if you take your time, just do everything super slow. It's like music in a lot of ways. If you're rehearsing music, you can't rehearse it fast, or you'll make mistakes and you'll continue to make mistakes. You know, if you're doing woodwork and you take your time, make those measurements correctly. And I've got this model in front of me that's kind of makes it idiot-proof. You know, there's no way I should make a mistake with an exact replica right next to me. You know, the first one though, I'll tell you, that was a challenge. No plans and all of that stuff, you know. Yeah, I appreciate that, woodchucker. Yeah, we do like to think it is a special thing, you know. And it's going to be heirloom quality, so that's why I take my time on all these joints. It could take me 6 months. If it takes me 6 months, you know, it's going to be used for the next 15, 20 years by a lot of kids who will enjoy it. And so I just figure that all of that time is worth it then, you know, when they enjoy it and they climb up and they have like a water fight or whatever and they're chasing each other, and it, you know, deals with all of that life around it, all of those fun things that kids do, the joy that they bring to life, you know. Kids love bunk beds too. And I had this only child in class one time who told me that even though he was an only child, he wanted to have bunk beds, so he got his like parents to get him bunk beds. Isn't that crazy? It's like wanting a bicycle built for two and you're an only child, you know? Edges, these sides, I want these sides very, very straight. I don't want them causing the piece to turn in any way by being offline. Now there's going to be some curvature because you carved them by hand, but you try to get those edges straight, and there's some tricks like turning your chisel backwards to get the edges straight, and down in the corners using, as I've told you all many times, a small chisel to do corners. Do a little bit at a time until you get down to that 1 inch area where your Forstner bit is cut to, and giving you a little bit of a easier job, right? Because this doesn't fit. This is not labor intensive, this joint. That one's even better than the last one. I got the bottom real flush on that. Wish y'all could see. There's the rain. Shout out to Eddie. Eddie's not going to make it today. He let me know he's going to be in Richmond with his friend. Not to throw his business out there, but said Eddie's not going to make it tonight, I don't think. He might pop in for a minute. But right here, this is a tiny knot. Must have been a tiny branch in this wood here. Right on where this edge is, and you might have missed that, you know. And you try to put your mortise in this, or your tenon in here, and you would get stuck probably. Just that tiniest, probably a millimeter wide, like knot there when it dried. It probably was much bigger when it was wet. Yeah, this is a nicely cut, very even mortise. Now I don't know how deep it is. Let me check and see the depth on it. It needs to be an inch deep. So we use this little thingy. It's not quite deep enough, but that's okay. I'd rather it be a little shallow right now, and I can keep going after it for a minute, than it be too deep and lose support wood there. So let me go after it just a little bit more. Looks like about a 1/8 of an inch maybe. I didn't do that on the other one. That one probably also has to be made deeper based on how this one feels. This joint was a solution for me with tying the posts in the two bents, or the two sides. You have one side of a bed with its support structure and the other side. And I was like, well, how do I join these two together in a strong way? And so one of the solutions I came up with was a blind mortise, just a beam that runs across. Because unlike a building that's built timber frame, there's no bottom sill plate, right? So the sill plate on a timber frame building holds the whole structure rigid together. It's the bottom plate of the building. And that bottom plate provides rigidity, but you don't have that on a bed. So you need something to tie those beams together in the back, just like the tie beams that hold the mattress do from side to side. Daniel, well, welcome back. You had to go or something? So I'm going back to the chat because I missed a bunch of chat. He said, "Look sharp, he." We were talking about probably my chisel there, and yeah, he's talking, and Robert's talking about Narex chisels. If Narex paid me, I'll definitely plug them. I do like their chisels a lot. They've done a lot of good work for me, man, and stayed sharp too. They do keep an edge very well, as Robert says. So shout out Narex. If you want to sponsor Dad's Workshop, I'd be happy about that. I'll stand by those products. Still a little bit shallow, and I know, having done this one now, that the other one's going to have to be deepened, because this one already, I know it's deeper than the other one. It's better to be shallow and have to take a little more out than to be too deep and know that you've lost a certain amount of support wood in there. Remember, there's joints up and down this piece of wood, so you want to keep as much support wood as possible and stagger those joints. If you're designing a piece of construction or furniture using timber frame concepts, you have to think about where the joints are placed. They can't be so close to each other that you won't have structural stability. Like, I've got this joint here. I need this joint to be, can't go all the way through. I can't have another joint right here. Well, I could, but I think that would take a lot of the strength out of this wood. So if you're buying what I'm selling here, it's all about, and I designed this myself, so I'm trying to come up with solutions for these things. Oh, good. Yeah, definitely say hi, man. Glad you do that. All right, so let me check it again. I just took a little more material out, and I'm closer now. It looks like I got about a 1/16 of an inch, and then I'm at depth there. And I'll just go ahead and do it because you know, I want it done. When I make the piece, which I probably could do on here with a saw, hand saw, a lot of that. I want it to be ready to go in, you know. I think the other thing you could probably use on this is a spoke shave. Like it's kind of like a routing plane. I have one, but I've never really known how to use it very well. I maybe should sharpen it, and that'd help. We got a big storm here coming. Apologize ahead of time for any connectivity issues that result from this storm, but that does happen. Now, let's run this thing across here. It's much shallower over here. That's important to note. Looks like it's getting there, guys. I really want that shoulder to sit down in there, right? If that shoulder sits down on there, I know I got it an inch deep. And I could take more material out being brutal in here and hitting with the mallet, but I'm just trying to do it just to get to that inch mark without going over. I don't want to overcut here. And I imagine if that side is high, this side probably is too. This is getting me ready for those brace pockets, which are just like this. They're joints that don't go all the way through. So you have to be careful how you cut them. You know, how you angle your chisel and stuff makes a difference. Pretty close. I'm gonna go over it one more time here. From this side and from the other side. Take a piece up there. That's going to be good enough for government work, folks. See how the shoulder's sitting down there? Probably not along the whole length, but that can be fine-tuned. That's good. We got that. Then let me take the other one since I know that one's not. Let me take that and show you what we're talking about here too. So here's our two bunk bed posts, right? What I'm cutting right now is that this mortise here. This is why I want you to understand what's going on. I don't want y'all to be confused. You see these? This is where a 2x4 is going to be lapped in here, right? Between the two. And I'll show you the piece on the other bed, on the prototype bed here, so that you can see what piece I'm cutting right now. But you see, it's a blind mortise. So that beam is going to sit in there. The shoulder is going to sit against the front of this, or the interior of this, towards the interior of the bed. And it will look like the 2x4 is just butted against it, but it's actually in there, and then it will be pegged through here with dowels. Put it in perspective, folks. There's the tie beam there that we're doing. You see, let's take that off here. Y'all see how that enters right there, and the shoulder sits against the piece and then runs all the way to the other side. Now this one actually has to be coaxed in a little bit because this is not in its final phase, but you see there are two braces going into that as well. So this has to be cut perfectly so that when I put those basically 25 and 7/16 inch braces in, they fit perfectly also, and that those brace pockets will have to be cut very precisely, you know. That's the footboard right there, which you guys looked at. All right, let me see what I'm looking at now. All right. So that being said, I had one of them that was an inch, and I can tell it's this one that's the one that needs to be worked on. Hope I'm on the right side of the camera now. I'm doing the same thing I just did with that last mortise. So now it's looking like maybe this is the one. This one is the one I just did. Kind of surprising because from that angle it doesn't look as good, but that's what happens when you look at something the other way. Yeah, this is the one I just did. All right, switch this up. I want to deepen that one I just did over there, or the first one I did, because I'm pretty sure that's not an inch deep. So right now is right where my vise is, because I know that's in the center of the camera. So let me check this. That's the first thing I need to do. Actually, that's pretty close right there. That's I misunderstood. I remembered. It's actually close. These shoulders though need to get straightened. Daniel rolling out. Bye, Daniel. Hopefully I see you tomorrow. If not, you know, Woodchuck's rolling out too. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate both y'all being here. I'm probably going to roll out of here shortly. But if you are new to Dad's Workshop, do drop a comment. Join, you know, by subscribing. Join the Discord. You know, join our family. We're like a family. You know, even though I kind of was a little bit I was, you know, a little bitchy earlier on. Sorry about that. You know, I get that way. And apologize in advance for it. You know, because it probably will happen again. All right. That's an inch deep. I'm not going to take that any deeper. I just had thought that maybe I didn't carve that one out as much. It didn't feel like I did as much work on it. But I did, apparently. Now what we need is we need a board that's not much more than 42 inches long. I don't want to have to cut a whole bunch off. I can tell you this is not long enough. I don't want to use the southern yellow pine either. I want to use this piece of palm spruce over here. Oh yeah, Woodchucker. We'll yeah, I'll be in contact with you. I'm sure there's something we could have you do, man. And I appreciate your offer. I appreciate your help. Measuring tape. All right, this needs to be, I want it to be 40 inches between, from end to end on this joint, from layout face to layout face. So it needs to be 42 inches long. The tenons on each side are going to be an inch long. So 42 inches, and I'm going to err on the side. And there's some rough spots on this board too. I don't love every piece of this board here. I'll tell you that right now. But maybe I should just go ahead and I want to switch this board. I don't like this. Maybe this part right here. 42 inches. Air a little bit like 42 and a 16th because of the kerf on the saw. Lotto, welcome. Now, where did I just put that mark? Oh, there it is. This is a test in how straight I can saw. I'm going to use the saw that I just got from the friends of the program. I believe it was it Ruiz who got me the saw? Or was this part of Daniel's pack? Those packages came back to back, but whoever got me the saw, I'm going to use this to cut through this wood, and we need to cut it exactly. It's got to be cut straight, so I cannot make a mistake really. I'll probably cut on the outside of this line because if I make a mistake, I want to be able to take a circular saw and square it off. I need to be cooking dinner. Didn't you say you were... Oh, let me say goodbye then. This is what I'll do. I'll do this tomorrow, since everybody's kind of on needs to run. Pallado, welcome. I'm sorry I wasn't on for very long since you came. Tomorrow, Pallado, we're going to cut this board to size, to 40 inches. We were working on the blind mortise on these two bunk bed posts. And we'll cut this 42 inches tomorrow on live, and then stay on. Okay, I'll stay on for a couple minutes. I'm a little scared about cutting this line with the, I don't want to cut this uneven because that'll mess up this whole thing, man. Every mortise has to be, I have to cut this slow is what has to happen. And I want a line on this side too. This is it's a good handsaw test. We'll cut this one thing and then we'll roll out. If I make a mistake, I'm gonna have to cut another board because I cannot have an uneven end on this. This is a tricky job with a handsaw here. I'm going to stay to the outside of this line here. Probably just real slow. I've got the cross cut side of my big blade. Actually, you know, I think I could probably handle this with this one and it may be better. There is a knot right there. I see it. I'm putting no pressure on this thing at all because I want to make sure I get on that line or I'm on the outside of that pencil line. Can y'all see where I'm cutting? Oh, I'm off camera. Hold on. There we go. Yeah, no, I got it. Sorry about that, Pallado. I moved it. So far, it's so good. I don't even care about getting this cut fast. I just want it straight. There's not much, what you call it, tolerance in these kind of joints for anything that's not square. Gotta get it square. Gotta get it square. A little off that line to the right of where I want to be. Now to re-angle a Ryoba saw, you tilt it backwards, I don't know, at like 35 degrees, and then re-angle where you're cutting to where you want to start your new line at. I hate doing that. I'm going to take this line all the way down, I think. How am I doing so far? Just trying to stay on my line here. I'm using a little more pressure with my thumb because I got some confidence. I can't tell for sure. I need my reading glasses, man. I'm too old for this. We're still doing really good on that line. Yeah, my mentor back in the day said, look, when you're cutting something, doesn't matter if it's a handsaw or circular saw, slow down and make sure that you're on that line and just cut as slow as you need to get the cut right. And we're doing pretty good right now. Maybe a slight angle this way, which I don't love, but I'm gonna keep going with where I'm at. I came off the line a little. It's okay because I'm on this side of it. If I was cutting on the other side, let me see if I can get myself back. This is tricky. This is where I got to demonstrate the thing I was talking about. Trying to re-angle my saw so I get back on that line. Yeah, that's not bad. Ready? All right, should be 42 inches. I'm going to double check that because if it's not, that sucks. You just spent all that time cutting it. It is 42 and a 16th. So I got that one little bit of extra just in case there. So the next thing we're gonna do, and we can do it here on live, we lay out these layout marks on it. So bear with me while I do that. Take this piece off. This is really good because what this is now we're going to be able to put these two beams together even without the tie beam lengths on there. And I could do these layout marks probably with this angle forward a lot. I want y'all to be able to see this. All right. And make sure that it's in there. Hopefully that's in the frame there. Looks like it's not. It's kind of out of the frame. We're gonna scoot it a little bit left. Great, that should be in now. Thanks everybody for being at Dad's Workshop today. Appreciate all of y'all being here. I'll take a dozen. Dozen's better than none. All right, so this joint is gonna be an inch long, so we're gonna reset this little thing here. Well, it's at an inch, that's great. How convenient. So from here to here, and we can trust this is square because this was actually the factory cut, or generally you can trust that the factory cuts are square. I'm not gonna use this for the whole thing. I'm gonna use mine. Well, maybe I can't use this because that's in the way. All right, we'll do this the whole way then. I really don't prefer this means of doing this. All right, but we do have a mark there at 1 inch. We can do that all the way around. That's how you do this. You always want you want to have a 360-degree idea of what's going on. Now, both of the tenons and both of the shoulders are going to be on this side. Both tenons on this side, both shoulders on the other side, right? So we got an inch line layout mark here. And then 3/4 of an inch down, I'm gonna put another mark, but let me flip this and do the other side. That's a terrible line right there. All right. First line I drew right there was bunk. I'm honestly not too happy with this one either, but I think that's going to do. Oh, my pencil. All right, we got that. 3/4 now. We want to do the other side too, because that's all the thing is set for an inch. So while it's set at an inch, let's do the other side too. But the way I'm going to do this one is I'm going to leave some space here real quick, so I can use my square, my speed square, even though it's a triangle. I never understood that. All right, so an inch on this side. Easy way to do this is that. You're probably gonna see that. Kind of inconvenient because where my clamp is, I can't fit my speed triangle, and that's what I'm trying to show y'all how to use here. So what I'm doing is drawing the layout marks all the way around here. And I've got them on this side, so I'm going to flip. That's horrible. I'll have to do that one again. That's all right. We'll do with that. Now we got an inch line here. There, I'm noticing there's a knot right here. That is going to be a bear. That is going to be a real pain in the butt because it's right where the tenon has to be cut. And you all know those knots are no joke, man, and they are a pain in the butt. So we're gonna try it anyway, because that's how we do things here. It's good to learn how to work around those imperfections. Let me lift this up a little bit. All right, y'all see this is the inch tenon, but it's only going to be 3/4 of an inch wide. So we need to reset our marking tool here, and we've set it to 3/4 of an inch, which is going to be half of the stud. So it's just basically going to be half the stud there, half the stud on that side, half the stud on this side. Now in the past, this is one of those deals where one of the tools that Chardonnay got me, this thing comes in handy because this will find the exact center of this board. So I might actually retest it using this real quick because it's an opportunity for me to use this cool thing that Chardonnay got. So let me try it out real quick. This little plastic tool looks simple like a handle, But what it does is it allows you to find halfway on a board. So we're gonna know if I can get this pencil lead through here. Gotta have a real sharp lead end on there. It broke the tip. Should line up with my mark. Slightly, I'm just seeing a slight difference. So about right here. Just want to make sure you're as accurate as possible. All right, we're going to decide which side's the tenon and which side is going to be the cut off. I think this side should be the side that's cut off. That's where the biggest part of the knot is. So I don't want a knot on my tenon. So could also probably do this here to find halfway on here. More than one way to skin a cat type thing. All right, I'll say, like I said, this is going to be the waist. So we're going to mark that with a pencil like this. Scribble, scribble, scribble. Scribble, 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 scribble. And then the top's going to be the tenon. So we'll put a little T there. T for tenon. Nah, no, I'm a little prejudiced against them. They are a pain in the butt, man. They are a pain in the butt. Especially when you just all you're doing, you just they wear your sharp tools out. It's a pain. All right, let me flip it over and lay out the other side too. Since my tenon is on this side, closest to me, I need to know. It doesn't need to be like cut right, but then when you cut the second one, you have to make sure that you're cutting the tenon on the same side. So right now, the waist side is on my side. So we're gonna try this tool again real quick. Let me see if I can get this tip through here. I just have to get more savvy with this thing, that's all. Get a sharper pencil for one. I have a little pencil sharpener that came with the kit, and I got to find that little tiny for this mechanical pencil I have that I use. Let me try the other one, because I think the other one might have a fatter. Yeah, that might be it. One of them has like a skinnier pencil lead area. Who needs a pencil sharpener? Let's try this again. All right, that's gonna work this time. I wanted this thing to work for me, so we're gonna center it. Then I'm gonna put the pencil through, and then I'm gonna slide down. All right, that was what I needed. So now you see the exact center of that piece, and I'm just gonna follow that mark, make sure that my marking tool here is accurate or in line with that. It's just a way to measure out. Yeah, and that's correct. Same thing here. I can mark the center of this. Oops, I broke the lead out. Oh, I gotta sharpen that. I hear the thunder outside. Thunder. All right, that was actually really well done there, if I do say so myself. This is the waste side over here. This line was just to show me where center was and test out that tool. So this is waste, waste, scribble, 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 scrabble, scribble, scribble, scribble. And this is the tenon here. So now, I guess before we roll out today, let's go ahead and cut since I got you here. Might as well, right? Shoulders look like they're lined up there, although that line is not great. We're gonna cut the waist side. We're gonna put a nice big old saw cut right through that side as straight as possible. Hopefully you all can see. Nice to be able to use that tool that Chardonnay got me here. Oh, one of the little magnets fell out. I'll find that. Because this is a longer piece, I'm going to use my other Ryoba saw on the crosscut side. It's like I'm missing one layout mark, and that's right here. It's kind of a rough area of wood too, so my mark is wanting to follow the messed up wood grain. All right, same thing. We want to take our time with this. Make sure that this is on that line. I can't see at the front of the line. Am I on, y'all? It doesn't feel like it. A little bit of splintering right there. Yeah, that's gotta be right there. If I'm not, it's my eyesight, not my skills. That's pretty close. Well, I can cut that shoulder down too. I'm missing the shoulder a little wide on that side. This side is lined up apparently, so it must be my saws like that. So I'm gonna have to compensate for that by chiseling down into the shoulder, and that makes it a little trickier. I'm gonna go ahead and finish this cut first though. All right, so I had the saw angled this way, and this is the things you learn is that's bad, right? And take that off, take that off. This is that part I told you I miscut right there on that shoulder, so it has to be pared down by hand, and this is tricky, so that's why you want to get your saw cut right if possible, because you're cutting across the grain with your chisel, not necessarily what your chisel wants to do, you know. But that looks pretty good there. I got that. You're right, Pilato. I got to take my time, right? Not fast. Slow. So there's a knot in there, and I can feel it, and it's making this wood come up a lot more. It's being a lot more what do you call it? Difficult. See how the grain's staying on like that? On a normal tenon made out of pine or whatever, you would just be able, it would pop right off. That's all right. We know what to do with that. That's what we do. And then you pare down the shoulder to make sure that whatever you left on the end, use the back of the chisel. Like the bevel side, that's what I mean. Push the bevel side against the edge, and that'll give you that, you know, when you're working down the side of a shoulder. I know a little bit about this stuff. Turns out. Don't worry, Pilato, we're gonna get it right. Can y'all see that on camera? I would hope you can, right? Yeah, barely, but yeah, you can see it. All right, so yeah, we're getting to the bottom of this, towards that line right there. So we're just gonna carefully pare that away, right? Like you would see on a super expert Japanese YouTube woodworking video, right? Love that stuff, I really do, not gonna lie. It inspires me. Definitely inspires me to take my time and do things the right way. We're gonna get those lines just right, and if it's not perfect, we're gonna have aimed for perfection, you know? Almost there here. Ooh, I liked how that felt. Y'all see that thing shoot off? And when I do these, it always gets me ready for the next thing, which is more difficult, which is the corner braces. And they're always a real bear. So, I mean, I've done well with them, but it's several steps up from doing the through mortises and these blind mortises. So having these as the next thing we do is probably a good warm up for those cutting the braces, because this is like, you know, in the project is a difficult project. I'm not gonna lie, it's not a novice level project, but you can learn some kind of novice level stuff and get through it if you take your time and learn each joint, you know, because you have to use each joint several times, so you get practice as you're doing it, you know, you're applying your knowledge practically. Yeah, little ridge there. Now, if you have a little shoulder plane, this is one of those type of situations where a shoulder plane wouldn't hurt, you know. Looks like the side that's closest to me has the most material that still needs to be removed. One of those deals where you turn the chisel backwards and kind of break backwards, because that's where the material is. It's fluted right now. So y'all see me doing this stuff. It's not just tinkering, it's stuff I learned to do, you know. I've got wood on the end, and there's enough wood taken off here, but there's wood on the end, so I turn my chisel like this and rake backwards. It's taking the material from the front, right? Just a trick, you know, little things. Trying to get that even, but I can't go from this angle because it's going to take too much, and it's going to take it off the back also. So if I do this and I pull back, it's not taking it until I'm at this angle, you know, like about 60 degrees, then it starts taking material off. Oh yeah, man. What I always made my beds out of to start out with was single dovetails on the corners. That was all of the first beds I made were a project in large single dovetails. So each corner was made almost like a log cabin style dovetail on each corner of the bed, and then from there, then I added the cross members. Much harder when you're building a bunk bed, but yes, that's what I did was take my knowledge of building dovetail boxes, hand cut dovetails. I was like, oh, I'm gonna make a box that's a bed size because I wanted to make toddler beds, and so then I did that. I used my hand cut dovetail skill that I just learned to cut those dovetails, and was really happy with the results. Now I used hardware on those. I put bolts through the dovetails, and it still looked really cool, like large bolts, and it had an industrial look. It was really cool. All right, this is looking pretty good. This side, maybe a little material here needs to come off. Yeah, a little bit more here. Can always take wood off, can't add it, so we got to be careful here. I'm going to tell you, this does not look square to me as I look at it from that angle, but my eyesight is failing me too. So let's try this. Let's try to put this thing into one of these joints and see whether it fits. I got one of them cut, and the support wood is here. So this is going to go in here like this. I'll try the other one if this one doesn't fit. Neither one will probably fit. Be real tight. And that's how you want them. You want them so that they don't really fit at first. I can tell if and I've got a video where I fit one of these, one of my most popular shorts. It's like 6,000 views or something of me fitting one of these. Sorry, that one's not ready. I'll try the other one, but it probably is the same deal. It needs to be pared down a little bit. But it's nice to know that I got this part done because it's going to help tie this frame together literally. I noticed this shoulder here needs to be adjusted some. Yeah. Sorry if I'm hitting the microphone, folks. Yeah, again, this needs to be pared down a little bit, but that's where it's going to go. And I haven't had a problem fitting these before. You just got to work them a little bit. So that's where that's going to go, and we're going to wrap it up there for today. Thank you all so much for coming. Shout out Chardonnay and Pilato and Daniel and Ruiz and Mike came in. Woodchucker, Robert G. Anybody else who popped in today? I did say Ruiz, Chardonnay. All right, one more time through those lists. Shout out Chardonnay, friend of the program, Woodchucker, Ruiz, Gandara. Shout out Mike is making stuff, and Pilato Creations. Shout out to all y'all. Appreciate you being here. Oh, polygamy, man. We didn't never talk about polygamy. Polygamy and adultery. Yeah, I didn't adulterize. I think that was a pretty clear point I made yesterday, but I do, yeah. Somebody said they were going to come in the chat and ask me more provocative questions that they can make highlight reels out of. So we'll have to see if that happens. I love you all. I appreciate all y'all. Thank you so much for being here. And thanks for sticking around, Pilato, and giving me that moral support when I need it, cutting that joint, I need that. That's why I got to do stuff on here. Appreciate everybody for being here. Love you all. Do the next right thing. Hug somebody you love. Appreciate every moment. That's a fresh and new possibility. And I will see you all tomorrow or whenever you choose to join us again. Bye-bye.